All right, so today we're going to continue with how to write a polynomial function given the zeros. And so here we have three zeros. We have a positive 3i and a negative 3i. Yes, those are imaginary numbers. It doesn't mean they're unuseful, but they're used in a different way. And then we have one real solution, or one real place where this graph is going to cross the x-axis, and it's going to occur when x is positive 2. Now let's just set up our factors like before. And so this positive 3i, its factor would be x minus 3i. The negative 3i, its factor would be x plus 3i. And then finally, this positive 2, its factor would be x minus 2. Okay, that looks like a lot, but I promise if you just go through and distribute, you'll see what happens and it'll work itself out. And so let's just distribute these first two terms. So x times x gets me x squared. X times a positive 3i, you ready, is going to give me a positive 3ix. Anytime we have variables being multiplied to each other, like an x times a y, it's just xy. Just like you have a number times a letter, like a 2 times an x, it just equals 2x. So in the same way, when I have a 3i being multiplied to an x, we're just going to attach those together, 3ix. Now finally, this negative 3i times x gives me a negative 3ix. So you might be saying, I have a positive and a negative. Those are going to cancel out. You're exactly right. So that's why this isn't too bad. Finally, this last part, negative times a positive is going to give me a negative. 3 times 3 is 9. And I times I is I squared. So I didn't do anything with this x minus 2 over here. So I'm going to bring that straight down. I'm going to combine any like terms, but as we discussed, this positive 3ix and this negative 3ix, those are going to cancel out. So I'm going to bring down my x squared. However, you'll get used to this after seeing it a few times, but this I squared, what you need to know is that I squared is the same thing as negative 1. I squared equals negative 1. In fact, if you plug that in your calculator, if you find the I button down at the bottom of your calculator, I think it's the negative button. So second and a negative sign, it could be the decimal button, second decimal, and hit I squared, your calculator will tell you that your answer is negative 1. So actually, you could plug this whole thing in your calculator, negative 9 times I squared, and it's going to give you a positive 9. And the reason it does that is because if I squared is negative 1, then really what we're saying is we have a negative 9 times a negative 1, and that equals a positive 9. So this is our first factor, and we get this from distributing x minus 3i times x plus 3i. Still haven't done anything with this x minus 2, so I don't want to forget that, so I need to bring that down in each step. And so now I have x squared plus 9 times x minus 2. And again, we're looking for highest exponent of 3 because we have two of our solutions here and one of them here. So there's where we get it. We take x squared times x and we get x to the third. So that's what we were looking for. X squared times a negative 2 gives me a negative 2x squared. And then positive 9 times x gives me a positive 9x. And then finally, 9 times negative 2 gives me negative 18. And what's nice about this is it is already in standard form for us. There's nothing that we can combine in terms of like terms. And we have our highest exponent, 3, down to 2, 1, and negative 18. So what does this graph look like? So we know that it's x to the third, and it's positive. So I know that I'm going to have some graph that looks something like this. However, it's only going to cross the x-axis one time, and it's going to cross the x-axis at positive 2. So, this is my x-axis. It may cross here at positive 2. And down here, we're going to have a y-intercept of negative 18. The other two solutions are going to be above the x-axis, so it's never going to actually touch the x-axis.